like to welcome you all here. My name is Sharon Boeckenhauer, and I am the president of the Dixon County Historical Society. And we named this program Treasure in Your Backyard because I suspect some of you don't know we exist. And we do feel like we have some treasures in our midst. We brought just a few things to share, but we have many, many more in our museum complex in Allen. And I'm not going to put anybody on the spot and ask, but have any of you visited our museum? Okay, then we would love to have you come. Leslie didn't even know we existed. You can put me on the spot, that's fine. I will put her on the spot. Yes. Dixon County Historical Society was founded on February 28, 1964, when 10 members met. 10 people got together and just decided they needed to preserve the history of Dixon County and historical artifacts. Then 87 persons would become charter members of the group, which is a large number. We would love to see 87 members again. For about 18 months, they rotated from town to town because it is Dixon County. It's not just the Allen Museum. It covers all of Dixon County and is inclusive. And then after 18 months, the organization was able to purchase the old Assembly of God Church in Allen for $400. And they bought that in 1965. I have a few things written down, otherwise we're going to just use my outline. The Historical Society held their first meeting in that building in October of that year, 1965. Then the church building got expanded onto, and there's an upstairs and a downstairs, both in the addition. They also added 4 other buildings to the complex, including the Logan Valley Rural School District, number 77, which had been in Section 6 of Wakefield Township. I have a map to prove it. They added a machinery building for outside machinery building. We added the old Farm Bureau building, became our research house, and we bought a house next door that's the research house. The old Farm Bureau building became our railroad building. So we're going to take a photo tour, and I want to thank Leslie for putting this together for me. I took the pictures and she made them all look pretty and put together. So we're going to start with the main building. This was the front, and then the side view kind of shows the addition that was added on to. This was the old Assembly of God Church, and the minister actually lived in the basement. We've taken some of the benches. They didn't have pews. They were benches, and they've made shelves out of some of those. And it's pretty much inside like it was when it was a church with our displays. Okay, you can go on to the next one. And this is the front of that main room. And this is where we have our meetings, in that main room. And it is set up more like the church setting. We also have things from, I think it was one of the Methodist churches when they closed at Dixon, and we have several other churches represented. It's not just all from the Allen Church that we purchased. Okay. This is another view of some of our displays in that building that was taken at a meeting. That piano, I believe, was from the Assembly of God Church. These are just fun posters that came in a donation to us. We'd never heard of the Cat family selling shoes, and they were kind of cute and colorful and seasonal. And this, like, there was a Halloween one and a Thanksgiving one, and we don't have the whole year, but we have some representative pictures. You can ask Roger about hanging those on the concrete wall. It was a lot of fun one day. So that's the main room. This is one of our treasures in the back of the main floor. And this is a Civil War flag that General Joseph Holman had. And then he raised his great niece, who became Emma Heckens from Emerson, and the family donated it. And it is quite large. I had a queen size sheet under it to lay it out to take this picture, and it almost filled the sheet. What I really like about it is that this star is stitched, and it's like they ran out of fabric. I don't know the story, but there's only half a star, and it was always that way because it's stitched on that cut edge. And I said, I don't think there were any half states, so I think it was just the way it was. And that's one of our favorite treasures.
Who did you say provided that?
It was the Heckens family from Emerson. And Emma Heckens, I have the information written down, was raised by her great uncle and aunt because her parents died when she was like a baby, one of those infection things after birth. And they were the General and Mrs. Holman, Hollman, Joseph Holman. He was a general. Okay, this is the back room. So this is the top floor of the addition in the main building. And you can see a variety of exhibits in that part. The quilt thing, I didn't take a picture because I brought a quilt, but there's a glass enclosure there with many, many quilts in it. Okay. This is also in the back room. The Hill family donated all their military uniforms. There was the father from World War I, and he had 4 sons who served in the military in World War II, and we have 3 of the 4 uniforms. Herbert Hill was the father in World War I. Jim Hill was in the Army in World War II. Wayne Hill in the Army in World War II. Keith Hill was the Navy one in World War II, and it wasn't that long ago that Keith Hill passed away at the Wakefield Care Center. And then Eddie Hill was in the cavalry in the Korean conflict, and his uniform apparently didn't survive. This is kind of cool too because we have a bridal couple, and we have the picture of them wearing it, and then their clothing was donated. I like that. We have that. And then some band uniforms from Allen. Okay. Moving downstairs, this is a new display. We received a huge donation of items from the Johnson family, a different Johnson. A.W.W. Johnson lived in the Concord area for about 16 years. And yet, when they were dividing up Grandpa's stuff, he lived here longer than anywhere else. And so we inherited many items, and his granddaughter purchased this lovely curio cabinet for us. This was a quilt of theirs. He did many paintings, and we have several upstairs also. And this was her grandmother's clothing. And so we're kind of naming that the Johnson room. And then we have other rooms set up like bedrooms. We have a kitchen area. We have a child's bedroom and an adult bedroom area. And there's also a lot of Swedish materials in that one. Okay. We also have, this is our stairway downstairs, but the registered pharmacist, C.E. Anderson, and then there's some medical things, the doctor's handbags and tools and things like that. So we have an arrangement of items that are medical in nature. That's our little kitchen area. We've been adding new mannequins. This mannequin has seen better days. Her head is taped on, but we have, thanks to Dick Albright here, one of our members, we've had 3 new mannequins purchased, and we're using them very well. You saw one in the other room, in the Johnson room. Okay. This is the back room in the basement. You see the old cream separators. There's telephone operator equipment when every town had their own little telephone operator. The cream separators, the kettles. It's just kind of a mixture of things. But we also have this humongous loom that somebody made for his wife many, many years ago. And once when we were sitting there on a Sunday afternoon, somebody came and they wanted to see great-great-grandma's loom. They knew it was there, and it was. And I thought, oh, I'm glad glad it's still here. I didn't know where it came from, but somebody in the family knew. So that was kind of neat that they come back looking to see stuff that they knew their family had donated. Okay. This is the school, and I just read they purchased this building. It's in this little brochure. It was in Section 6, Wakefield Township, and it was bought for $50 in 1966, and they paid $100 to have it moved. So, it was Logan Valley School District number 77, and it held school until 1951. That has been added as part of our complex. The next picture shows an inside picture where there's a little entryway with the water and the place to hang your lunch buckets. Many of us went to country school, so this is all familiar to some of us. And then we have the school room, and one of our mannequins is down there to be the teacher. This is in the machinery building. This is a picture of the outside of it. I don't know the year they built this. Roger and I have been members for like a dozen years since I retired from teaching, but all of the buildings were acquired before that. This is a new treasure, and this is a sleigh that actually was owned by Henry Allen, who was the founder of the town of Allen, and donated recently by his family. And that's in the machinery building, and we're quite proud of that. In the machinery building, we also have a replica that was built of a horse-drawn school bus. And until I saw this, I never knew such a thing existed, but we actually have a picture of one that was used, and it was one of the first horse-drawn buses for Allen Consolidated Schools. And the guy's name was Merle Chase, ready to start his route with his first passengers. So they had bench seats on each side, one in the center, and they had a little smokestack. So I don't know how they had fire in a wooden, school bus, but whatever.
What year was that?
It says it had 3 bench seats on each side. These were used until 1931 when they were replaced with motor buses. And then it said the first bus drivers in 1919, and I cut the picture off, I guess.
Is that 1918 on that side?
Yes.
Is that when?
That probably was when that one was built. Or to represent, yes. These are the other 2 buildings. This was a little house that we purchased right next door, and it's become our research building. And this is our railroad display building. And I took one outside picture. Gee, that was a blue sky. I can't believe how clear it was. And then these are the inside pictures. The research house houses several old county books. Some of them we have returned to the county because we aren't sure quite how we got them. And they came and looked and they said, yeah, maybe we should have some of those back. I think somebody got overeager in cleaning house a few years ago and maybe thought we'd be a good place to put them. But the other are all the county newspapers, and people would come and do genealogy research on them. And they are now digitized, but people do, I'm going to let you start these and then just hand them back. People do still like to come look at the old newspapers, so we've never gotten rid of them. They're getting kind of fragile, but there's ads in there and things that you can see that you might not see on the digitized ones. But I'm handing out a sheet of how to look things up on the digitized sites. We have a collection in the back room of old technology, including mimeograph machines, adding machines, old typewriters. We have floppy disks and every other kind of computer thing you can imagine. And then also in the research house, the next picture, You have a children's room, and toys are up there in that room. And then we have what I'm calling our genealogy nook. Many families have donated grandma's genealogy binders. And if Gloria were here, I would ask her what all families we have. I know we have Noe family, and I don't remember all the other names, but we kind of created a space where people could come and sit and do research in the research house. In the railroad building, we have displays about railroads. There was pictures of a flood that took out the tracks, and just kind of some historical stuff. Ken Paulson from Wakefield has helped us do a lot of that. He does the Depot Museum in Wakefield also. And then we just have railroad displays. Our hopes are to create in one room like a room where the depot manager might live. That's kind of our hope, to have a special place in there that could be like his little bedroom and office or whatever. But I haven't got that done yet. Okay. As I said, there are 11 towns in Dixon County, and all are represented at our museum. These are town photos that show Concord, because we're here closest to Concord. And there are displays like this about each and every town that is part of Dixon County. So it's, we are inclusive, and we try to represent all of the area towns. The churches and country schools are also represented. We have lots of pictures collected from all of those that we can get our hands on. So it's amazing what people will come and say, well, my grandma went to country school and they live by Allen or they live by Ponca, and we can usually find a map that has a school on it, and then we can go to our binders and say, oh, well, here's a picture from that school district. So it's kind of fun. We are open Sundays in June, July, and August from 2 to 4 or by appointment. I have my phone number and Gloria's phone number there. And I have an old brochure I will give you. We are revamping our brochure. We also have monthly meetings. We started up again in March. We don't usually meet the winter months, but March through October. And we meet on the third Tuesday of every month at the Allen May Museum at 1:30 in the afternoon. We have a Facebook page that Brad Kellogg still operates for us, even though he's moved out of the area. We host 3 Saturday night at the museum programs in the summer months. And those we will advertise in both the Wakefield paper, on our Facebook page, and the Ponca paper. And those are, anybody can come. We have, a guest speaker come in and talk about something that's historical or we hope of interest to people. We are members of the Northeast Nebraska Heritage Museum Network, and we will be meeting this Saturday in Madison. It's a group of museums from Northeast Nebraska that have representatives who just come and talk about their museums and get together for networking. We're also a member of Wander Nebraska program, and if you've never heard of it, it's run by the Nebraska State Historical Society Foundation, and you can just Google Wander Nebraska, and there are up to 170 different museums listed in the state. So if you want to know a place you might go visit, you can maybe find them on the Wander Nebraska website. I'd like to introduce Dick Albright as our treasurer, and I'm so glad he could come to this. My husband Roger is a member, and I want to thank Leslie again for putting the pictures up. I want to tell you about the things I brought. This is a quilt that was given to Anna Marie White, and her maiden name was Kreifels, you said, and she worked here from 1963 to 1989. When she retired, all of the extension clubs made blocks, and they put this quilt together for her as a retirement gift. So when I think about it, 35 years ago, that there were still that many extension clubs in the area, and I don't know of any now. So, I mean, that's, and her family donated it to us, to our museum. This is, Alan is on Historic Route 20, and there is an organization for Historic Route 20. That's where I got my t-shirt. It's the longest, what's it say, the longest state highway in America. It's over 3,000 miles from Newport, Oregon to Boston, Massachusetts. And this is a map that we have of where Highway 20 came, and it didn't go exactly in the same places that Highway 20 goes now. There's a few old places, but the person who's done Highway 20 organization has been our speaker 2 or 3 times at the museum, and he's been really fun and interesting to talk to.